Can you imagine a Ferrari that is not only beautiful, but literally defies the physics of modern Formula One? What if I told you that their engine runs at temperatures that no other team would dare to use? With steel. Today we are going to meet the SF-26, the most dangerous, controversial, and technically crazy car to come out of Maranello in more than a decade. And I assure you that what you are about to hear is going to leave you with your mouth open. From day one, the SF-26 was treated as a vital project. Not like just another car, but as an act of redemption. The engineers worked with total freedom without the restrictions of what they had learned in previous years. Crazy ideas were accepted, protocols were broken, risk was allowed. Because the pressure was no longer just about winning. It was recovering the soul of Ferrari. And that is the emotional truth behind SF-26. It's not just a new car. It is a declaration of war. A response to shame. A desperate attempt, yes, but also the most audacious that the Scuderia has undertaken in decades. When the first details of the SF-26 were leaked, even within Maranello there were engineers who thought it was a joke. Fake news. An exaggeration. Because at the heart of the new Ferrari there was a subtle evolution of the hybrid turbo V6 engine they've used for years. No, what there was a technical bomb. Cylinder heads made of steel. Yes, steel. A material that for decades had been discarded by the entire Formula One grid due to its high weight. And yet, Ferrari didn't just choose him. He made it the central axis of his bet. To understand the magnitude of this decision, you have to look back. Traditionally, Formula One engines use aluminum for their main components, especially cylinder heads, because it is lightweight and relatively easy to shape. But the new technical regulations of 2026 changed that equation. Now, the minimum weight of the power unit rises from 120 to 150 kilos. This reduces the historical obsession with lightning at all costs. And it opens the door to more resistant, more efficient materials. And yes, heavier if their mass is compensated for with intelligent design. Steel offers something that aluminum can't match: thermal resistance. Ferrari knew that if they could operate the combustion chambers at extreme temperatures and pressures at levels that were previously unthinkable for full racing, they could achieve superior thermal efficiency. What does that mean in simple terms? That they would extract more power from each drop of fuel. That the same ignition event would produce more thrust, more torque, more speed. And in a Formula One that in 2026 requires that 50% of the total power come from the electric motor, each additional percentage of thermal efficiency of the combustion engine makes a brutal difference. Because the more efficient the engine is, the less it depends on the hybrid system. And that not only frees up energy resources, but also gives total freedom to aerodynamics, strategic deployment, and race pace. But of course, using steel at these demanding levels is not easy. In fact, Ferrari had already explored this path years ago, and abandoned it. Reliability was the problem. Steel withstands more heat, but also places more stress on adjacent components, in joints, valves, axles, and blocks. Any structural failure could cause the engine to explode in the middle of a fast lap. That's where AVL comes in. This Austrian company, a world expert in automotive hybrid systems, worked closely with Ferrari engineers to develop a design that was not only powerful, but reliable over the entire race distance. We are not talking about simulations. We are talking about hundreds of hours on test benches, validations in extreme conditions, engineering work that borders on obsession. And if that were not enough, Ferrari also relied on additive manufacturing, the famous metallic 3D printing, to produce these engine heads. Using metal powder bed fusion technology developed with Renishaw, they managed to build parts that could not exist with traditional methods. Internal channels for cooling, complex geometries impossible to machine, material distribution optimized to the millimeter. They literally place metal only where it is necessary. And that makes it possible to compensate for the density of the steel. What was once too heavy is now functional and competitive. The result? An engine that not only promises more power but also less need for cooling. And that changes everything. Because smaller radiators mean narrower pontoons. And a more compact rear end improves diffuser efficiency, reduces drag, and stabilizes aerodynamic flow in critical acceleration or braking phases. But the story doesn't end with the engine. Ferrari redesigned the entire energy integration. More compact batteries with greater energy density. A new wiring architecture. Optimized internal cooling systems. All this not only improves efficiency, it also improves performance on the track. In 2025, the SF-25 suffered from unpredictable power deliveries, affecting traction control, tire wear, and braking stability. With the SF-26, the goal is not just to go faster. It is doing it with control. with perseverance, with confidence. And that, for drivers like Hamilton and Leclerc, can be the definitive weapon. When talking about the Ferrari SF-26, almost all the attention has focused on the heat engine and its risky steel architecture. But that's only half the story. Because beneath the surface, the real breakthrough, the silent muscle that can decide championships, is in its hybrid system. A package so refined, so radically optimized, that some in the paddock are already calling it Maranello's silent weapon. And the new 2026 rules completely transformed the relevance of the hybrid system. Before, the electric motor was an accessory, a support. But now, it represents 50% of the total power delivery. That is, it's no longer just about how fast a car accelerates. It's about how you manage your energy, how you store it, how you release it, and most of all, how consistently you can do it lap after lap without degrading. This is where Ferrari seems to have hit the table. While other teams focused on adapting their existing hybrid systems, Ferrari decided to build its own from scratch, based on knowledge gained from its endurance programs, specifically the Le Mans hypercar. There, under extreme 24-hour racing conditions, they developed energy management technologies that are now integrated into a much more demanding context: Formula One. The SF-26 MGUK electric generator that recovers energy during braking is now capable of producing up to 350 kilowatts. It's a brutal figure. To put it in perspective, in 2025 the figure was 120 kilowatts. This means that Ferrari has tripled the electrical power available for deployment. But it's not just a question of quantity, it's a question of control. Because with the elimination of the MGUH, the unit that previously recovered energy from the heat of the exhaust gases, the entire weight of energy regeneration now falls on the MGUK and on the car's ability to optimize each braking, each phase of inertia, each meter of asphalt. The SF-26 hybrid system not only recovers energy, it calculates the optimal braking point in real time, evaluates traction on the rear wheels, and adjusts delivery to minimize tire wear. All this without the pilot having to intervene. The battery system was also completely redesigned. Ferrari developed a more compact, lighter pack, but with greater energy density. The goal? Store more cargo without compromising aerodynamic packaging. This battery also has more aggressive thermal management, allowing more intense charge and discharge cycles without degradation. That translates into something very simple: the car can attack longer. You can keep the pace higher for more laps. And in a 24-race championship, that can make the difference between challenging for the title or watching from behind. But perhaps the most impressive thing about this hybrid architecture is its total integration with the chassis. The system is not designed around the car. It is inside the car. The mass distribution was adjusted millimeter by millimeter. The wiring, the cooling, the communication between the thermal motor and the electric motor, everything is synchronized for an immediate response. The 2026 rules eliminate the classic DRS and replace it with two aerodynamic modes that the pilot can activate in real time. The X mode, designed for straights, which reduces load and drag, and Z mode, designed for curves, which maximizes downforce and grip. But what Ferrari has done is not simply comply with those modes. What they have created is an active ecosystem, which turns the SF-26 into a chameleon car, capable of mutating its dynamic behavior between curves, braking, straight lines, and changes of direction. And all this is only possible due to a completely new chassis and rear suspension design. Ferrari has shortened its wheelbase, compacted its gearbox, and redesigned the suspension geometry to favor neutral behavior during load changes. This not only improves corner entry, it also allows the car to benefit from active aerodynamics without generating bouncing or instability problems that destroyed the SF-25's performance in variable conditions. A concrete example: the new rear end of the SF-26, narrower thanks to the reduction in engine cooling, allows air to flow more efficiently to the diffuser. This enhances ground effect even in X mode when the rear wing is unloaded. In other words, Ferrari is not completely giving up downforce even when seeking top speed. He is playing aerodynamic chess on every meter of the circuit. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.